may be upset with me when y'all look at that title, or you're probably sitting back saying to yourself, what is Henny talking about? Baby, baby, baby. Today was a mix of W's and L's, if I do say so myself. Now, I'm going to get over to our favorite afternoon spot. We're going to sit down and we're going to get into all of the hot Henny that I'm about to pour up for all of y'all. Now, today we had testimony from an audio-visual forensics expert. We also had testimony from Cassie's friend, Bryana, Bana, Bongolan. Okay, say that 3 times fast, all right? Bryana, or I'm going to refer to her as Bana from here on out. I gave y'all an update on her this afternoon. Now it's to give y'all what she said following the lunch break. She started off good, but if I'm going to be honest with you, she didn't finish strong, okay? She did end up taking up the remainder of the afternoon, so you know what that means? That means that we did not get to hear from Jane Doe. Ooh, I don't have my microphones in. Hold on one second. All right. Let's get this show started. All right. So we're going to get the microphone in. All right. We're going to put the mics in. How we do. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all hear me clear. Now, I am going to tell you, at one point, I did stop, but I can tell you what the heck was going on in court because I just could not believe what was going down before my very eyes. Now, I want to say this before we get started. I am always going to advocate and rally for those who are victims because I understand what it is, the mentality of it all, the psychosis of it all of that, okay? But I am not going to allow that to hinder me from giving you guys the truth. This is a court case. This is the Riot Act before we get started. This is a court case. And every day, the scales are going to tilt. The scales of justice are going to tilt. Some days y'all are going to love what y'all hear. Some days y'all are not going to love what y'all hear. Some days you're going to be like, nope, this person said this and I'm going to stick with that. You're going to be like, some days, nah, Henny said this and I'm going to stick with Henny. Either way it goes, I'm always going to give y'all exactly what is going on inside of the courtroom. No BS, okay? So when we came back from lunch, Bryana was still on direct, okay? And she was being direct examined by AUSA Smizer, okay? I got to put my hair up. It's New York City. It's warm. And yeah, y'all already know. I don't like being hot if you didn't know that already. So now let's get into it. So when we came back from the break, we learned that Miss Bana spoke on, where is it? She spoke on the balcony situation, okay? And what she said about the balcony situation was that Diddy had came in there and that he was upset and she didn't even understand what had happened, okay? She didn't understand why he was dangling her over the balcony. She's alleging that she told him, she asked him, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he didn't answer her. So here we are, the balcony. All right. She did show 2 photos. One of the photos showed bruising on her leg, and the second showed like little strawberry bruising on her back. Allegedly, this came from when she was slammed into the patio furniture. So according to her, it got worse. In the photo where they showed her back, where those strawberry patches were, and if you don't know what strawberry patches are, they're little red patches that pop up on people's backs, all right? So she had that. But she also had on a neck brace, okay? That's what she had on. She said at first she didn't feel any pain because of the drugs that she was on. And she said eventually she did. Like once she started coming down, she started feeling it, guys. And that's not uncommon for people who are on any type of substance that they don't be feeling nothing. They can't feel their face when they with you, but they like it. She also said that she did not speak to Puff right away. She said that she spoke to him a couple days later and she let him know, like, I don't want any smoke with you. I'm like paraphrasing her, okay? She said, I don't want no smoke with you. I don't want no issues with you. She said that she did try to be friends with him, and that he and Cassie, they kind of started becoming cool. But the last time that she hung out with Diddy and Cassie was for New Year's of 2018. She said the last day that she saw them was January 2nd, 2018. And the reason that she remembers that date is because she tattooed it on her, because after that day, she decided that she wanted to get clean. All right. She says that they was at a New Year's Eve party at the One down in Miami, and they did 8 hours of ketamine straight. She said she couldn't do anymore and she left. And she went and she got sober. She said that it was a hard time for her, that she was struggling to get sober, but eventually she's alleging that she got sober. All right. She said she knew about Cassie's lawsuit that came out in November of 2023. She said she spoke with Cassie after the suit was filed, and she told Cassie that she got some information incorrect when it came down to the balcony situation, because apparently in her lawsuit, in Cassie's lawsuit, she said that Bana was held over the balcony of the 17th floor of a hotel, but in all actuality, it wasn't a hotel. It was Cassie's apartment that happened at, right? So Cassie, she said that her response when she told her that she had got that information wrong was that she was on drugs back then. Go figure. She also said that after meeting with the government, she spoke with Cassie once and told her that she told her lawyer about, she spoke with Cassie once and Cassie had told her that she told her lawyer, Cassie told her lawyer about what Bana said about the events that took place with the whole balcony situation, okay? She said that she still has nightmares and she wakes up screaming from the incident that happened. And I mean, she says that she's paranoid. She said the last time that she had a nightmare was a couple days ago. I mean, if you were hung over a balcony, I could understand you having nightmares about that situation. Like your life was literally like dangling by a thread or dangling by a leg, for real. Like, and I don't mean to be insensitive. She says she hired an attorney in 2024. Regarding the balcony incident. Now, the person that she hired, y'all, it was Tyrone Blackburn. It was Tyrone Blackburn. And if you know anything about Tyrone Blackburn, he is quick to take a celebrity. Now, he's quick to take a celebrity case for clicks, likes, views, and viral moments, okay? He is definitely attention seeking when it comes down to picking his cases, all right? But she said that Tyrone Blackburn had lied about some of the incidences in the paperwork. She said she didn't tell everything in the first meeting with the government, but it was after the first meeting that she decided to disclose everything about what happened to her when it came down to the balcony. So her suing Diddy, she said her lawyer sent a demand letter, which was Tyrone Blackburn. Happy 16-month anniversary, Wonder Woman. She says, hey, Henny and chat family, join the family, don't miss out, and like the video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So she said she didn't approve. She didn't look at anything that he had sent. She didn't know what was going on with the same thing that's going on with your mamas. How about that? All right. She said she didn't know anything about what he had worded in his demand letter, but she let him go. Now, as far as reaching out, she said after she filed her lawsuit, she heard from Cassie, she heard from Tiffany Red, and she heard from Rob Holiday. Now, she said that Rob Holiday gave her a call, but when on a FaceTime, but when she answered the phone, she recognized the backyard that Rob was standing in, and she said that it was Diddy's backyard. Yes, she said it was Diddy's backyard that he was standing in. And basically what he was saying is that he was speaking on behalf of Puff, and that Puff told him to try to settle the matter with her. She declined what was offered to her. She never said what was offered to her. There was strong objections during this portion of testimony. So we never got to hear how much Diddy offered her. But there was an offer that was made by him to basically settle the matter. But she said after she declined that offer, she never heard from Rob Holiday again. She says that her new lawyer, Her new lawyer convinced her to file a new lawsuit about the balcony incident, and her lawyer wrote the complaint and he picked the amount. According to her, the lawyer is the one who put in that the amount that they're suing for is $10 million. Okay. I don't know what it is about $10 million. Everybody wants $10 million. But now the government did what the government usually does, which is asked her that if she could trade in the money for none of this stuff to have ever happened, would she? And of course she said yes. Now I want to tell you this. She went underneath cross-examination with Nicole Westmoreland, and let me just tell you, she is a pit bull in a skirt for real. I am surprised that they did not put Westmoreland on Mia, all right? Because she comes out the gate snapping, okay? She starts off all nice, and she's like, my name is Nicole Westmoreland. I represent my client, Sean Combs, and I'm going to be cross-examining you today. Okay, that's how she starts off. But then the minute she starts going, she's on go from the minute that she starts, okay? She started asking her questions about her immunity. And when I say her, Westmoreland was asking Bana questions about her immunity and asked if she understood, what she understood about it. She asked her, well, you do understand that you can't be prosecuted for crimes that you speak on here today. True? She says yes. All right. She's asking her, this is determined. She asked her, the stipulation is that you have to be truthful. True? She says yes. So she goes, who is determining whether or not you're telling the truth? So Bana says the prosecution. So she goes, okay. So then Bana goes on and she confirms she met with Cassie at Young and Reckless. She started her off very slowly, walking her back through some of the testimony that she already had given to the government about them meeting at Young and Restless, and them not really forming a bond then her meeting again, Cassie, when she was trying to design a clothing line brand with Diamond Supply. Now, one of the things that Westmoreland did touch on was the fact that Cassie was not successful with her clothing line, but she said the reason why Cassie was not successful with the clothing line, or one of the reasons that she brought up, was that Cassie was competing against Rihanna. She was competing against Beyonce. She was competing in a market with stars, I guess, that they're trying to say were like bigger than her. So that didn't work out very well. But she also pointed out that Bana was supposed to be creative with Cassie. Like, she was supposed to sit and spend time with her, and she was supposed to pull the ideas out of her mind, of what it was that they were going to do for this clothing brand. Now, Bana kept saying that it was a clothing line. Westmoreland kept calling it a t-shirt line. I'm not sure if it was a clothing line or a t-shirt line, because I never heard of either when it came down to Cassie. That's no tea, that's no shade. I'm just calling it how I see it, right? She was being paid, Bana was being paid $75,000. And she understood that Cassie was an artist and she was the graphic designer, all right? Cassie had, she asked her, she said, well, at this point in time when you met her and she was trying to come out with this line, this clothing line, she was still an artist for Bad Boy, correct? So she was like, yes. She was like, so she had two streams. So what Westmoreland was doing there is she was trying to establish that Cassie was free to do stuff on her own. But like we've heard continually over and over again, it still needed to be approved by Diddy, because there was, according to the testimony we've heard, there has never been any peace whenever somebody tried to do something outside of anything with his permission, okay? She said that Westmoreland asked Bana, your boss, he made you the head over everything that was Cassie. True? She's like, yes. So she says, and, she brought up her sitting with her again, as far as trying to come up with the creative ideas. And she said, yes, that she was sitting with Cassie and that she did have to get into her head in order to bring those things to light. So now Westmoreland moves on to the first night that Bana stayed the night at Cassie's house, right? Cassie wasn't living in the high-rise building that she was living in when Bana alleges that she was held over the balcony. Instead, Bana says that Cassie was staying over in Studio City, and one night while they were outside, she suggested that Cassie do a photo shoot in the pool in just a t-shirt, okay? So Cassie does the photo shoot. And Westmoreland asked Bana, she says, it was that moment that you knew that you and Cassie were comfortable with each other. And so it was like she didn't understand what she was saying to her, but then she said yes. All right. Then Westmoreland goes on to say she slept, that Bana spent a lot of time with Cassie at the house and then at the apartment, because the Studio City place where Cassie was staying at was a house, and then she moved to the high-rise apartment. All right, so she spent a lot of time with Cassie at both residences that she held out there in LA. And Westmoreland asked her, what kind of things did y'all do together? Y'all went shopping, y'all designed together, y'all got your nails done together, y'all hung out together. There was a lot of partying together. And when she said that, Bana kind of paused and she was like, no, I wouldn't say that. So Westmoreland pulls up a portion of her of when she met with the government. And so apparently in the government, she said that they how did she word it? She said they didn't go to a lot of parties, but they partied. Okay. That she said that's not what I meant. The way you're saying it is not the way that I meant it. So Westmoreland goes, well, let me say it in a way that you would understand. So she or something to that effect. She snapped at her and she was just like, so y'all like to party. Y'all partied a lot. She was like, yeah. But in that line of questioning, if you're ever sitting in a courtroom and you start seeing a line of questioning coming up like that, expect a type of moment to happen. And it happened, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because what happened was Westmoreland immediately went from, oh, y'all like to get your hair done, y'all like to go shopping together, y'all like to do all of this. She said, well, the first time that you guys ever did drugs together was during that night when you did the pool photo shoot. So Bana says yes. So then, it came out that at some point, she said Cassie spent a lot of time getting high at some point. Now, this is what Bana is testifying to. She's agreeing with, right? Now, baby, hold on to your britches, because there was a long list of drugs that they were doing together. Westmoreland started asking Bana about the different substances that she took and how they made her feel. So she started off with the Mary Jane, and she said, Bana says, well, that made me feel happy and tired and hungry. Then she asked her about edibles. She said it was the same thing as when she smoked Mary Jane. Then she asked about the cocaine. She said the cocaine made her feel confident. She asked about the ketamine. The ketamine, she said it seemed to open her mind, and that she did get stuck in K-holes. All right. She asked her about ecstasy. She said she felt loose and uplifted. Asked her about Molly. We didn't get an answer on the Molly. Asked her about GHB. She said GHB made her feel drunk without being drunk and horny. They asked her about acid. She said she didn't do that very often. And then they asked her about Percocet. She said she threw up. I didn't get a clear answer on the Vicodin. Then they asked her about Cocoa Puffs. Now, I don't know if you know what a Cocoa Puff is, but in New York, we call it a woo or a love boat. But basically what it is where you take the Mary Jane and you put it in, and then you put the cocaine and then you roll it up and you smoke it. Yeah. That's what they were doing, and they seem to like that a lot. Okay, a lot. She agreed that she and Cassie had a serious drug problem. No, she actually admitted that they had a serious drug problem at this point. She had sold Cassie some drugs at one point in time on a weekly basis. They did drugs together before Bana even met Diddy. They were doing drugs together. Okay. One time, Westmoreland brought up a time when Bana went out to go get Cassie some pills. And it wasn't just one or two pills. She went out to go get her hundreds of pills. And allegedly, Bana was so scared because of the amount of pills that it was. But she still went out and got it, and she didn't tell Cassie no. Then Westmoreland said to her, well, sometimes you would get high with Cassie for free. So she was asking, I don't know what you mean. So she was saying, well, you used to go out and you used to buy the drugs. Like, she used to buy the drugs from you. So sometimes you would be nice and you would just get high with her. for free? Bana says yes. And I'm just like, girl. Now, the twister for us is when they were asking about particular dealers that Bana had delivering drugs to Cassie. And one of the dealer's name, and the only dealer's name that we did talk about, was somebody named Ray J. Now, everybody in the court was like, Ray J? Like, we were all looking like, I know you're not talking about One Wish, Ray J? But it turns out, Bana said, the only Ray J that I could think of is the singer, and I don't think it was him. So, wasn't that Ray J? But it sure had us all stuck like, hold on. We was expecting to hear about some celebrities. And we know Ray J got his own issues, but you mean to tell me? Anyway, she said she and Cassie went from doing drugs once a week to every time they saw each other, okay? The clothing line. Wetsmoreland brought up that Cassie's clothing line flopped. Like I told y'all, she said that the clothing line flopped because she was competing with, like I said, Beyonce and Rihanna. And then there was an internal issue with a dude named Nick. It was a skating line that they were working on, and I guess he just didn't see the vision. But what Wetsmoreland was trying to ask with this, she did ask a question, and she said, so Mr. Combs wasn't the reason that the clothing line was not successful. And it was an objection, and that was sustained. So then she asked again, and she said, it's hard to be productive when you're getting high. That was the next thing that she said, and there was an objection, and it was sustained. So yeah, there was some things that she got in there as questions, but the judge wasn't allowing them to go out. But I wrote it down anyway because this is what they said. As far as their friendship goes, Bana felt her and Cassie were close. Bana didn't meet Diddy for a year, and she and Cassie were still they were still getting high, you guys. Okay, and that's what Wetsmoreland was honing in on. She was trying to establish that, hey, even though you never met Diddy, the two of y'all were still getting high without Diddy. So what she was trying to show was that Cassie was getting high by herself. But the thing is, nobody was ever denying that Cassie was getting high on her own. In fact, I believe that Cassie even admitted that she was getting high on her own, because she said the whole reason why Diddy hung Bana over the balcony is because she was getting high with Cassie, and that Diddy went out and told other drug dealers not to give Cassie any more drugs. That's what was testified to already. So for me, I didn't see that as being something that was like a moment. But I will tell y'all, there were people that were in the courtroom that were like, and I'm like, calm down. Like, Cassie already admitted to this. So this is not really any news right now that we're getting. But what I will say is, and if you don't like what I have to say, then that is a you problem, not a me problem. So don't make it my problem. But what I will say is, I'm still sticking to the fact that Cassie, from what we understand, she was not getting high prior to her being with Diddy, okay? She started getting high while she was with Diddy and developed this horrible drug habit. Let me tell y'all something. It was already testified that Diddy was doing E, Molly, GHB, MDMA, cocaine, marijuana, shrooms, acid, agave. He was doing all types of stuff as well. And when Diddy got picked up, before this case even took off, when he got picked up at the hotel here in New York, he had the medicine bag with him. He was still getting high. So to me, saying that they were getting high without him being around does absolutely nothing. Now, if this was a matter of she met Diddy back and they started dealing with each other, what, in 2007, 2008? If you were telling me that in 2005, you and Cassie were sitting up, getting high, doing all of these drugs prior to that, then I would be like, oh, damn, that's a bomb. That's a mic drop right now, okay? So, for me, that didn't do anything. She did say that her and Cassie were still friends. She said that her and Deontay Nash were still friends as well. They were asking her when was the last time that she spoke to him. And she said Deontay had texted her today, but she didn't talk to him. She also said that when she has spoken to Deontay, that it was not about the case. She said that she spoke to Cassie. Well, she didn't speak to Cassie. Cassie texted her today, and she didn't talk to her. So they still are speaking to one another, but Everyone has said, including Mia, that they are still in contact with one another, but they are not talking about the case, okay? As far as her lawsuit, they went back to the lawsuit, and, you know, Bana knew about Cassie's lawsuit, okay? And this is where things started getting twisted up, and this is where some people got a little upset with me already. I don't even know why you get upset with me. Hold on one second, let me fix my lighting. Oh, I can't fix the lighting. It is what it is. All right, so when Wetsmoreland went back into the lawsuit, she brought up Tyrone Blackburn, okay, and brought up the fact that Bana was talking about how Tyrone Blackburn was basically doing whatever it is that he wanted to do when it came down to filing the paperwork and all of that, right? So Wetsmoreland started taking her words, Bana's words, and twisting them against her. And Bana, she was falling for it. Now, everybody might interpret this differently, but I'm going to tell you what I saw. What I saw was when Bana was saying that her lawyer was doing things on his own and lying in the lawsuit, Wetsmoreland took that and twisted it and said, you know, well, the things in the lawsuit are not true. She says yes. She said that after Cassie, remember we spoke about Cassie's lawsuit, and she told Cassie that the location was wrong, that the people were wrong. When she started talking about that, she said, after Cassie's lawsuit, you two sat and talked about the details of the balcony incident. She says, yes. She goes, you guys discussed the dates and locations of it, correct? And she kind of paused and she was like, yeah. She was like, you discussed the location at where it happened, correct? She says, yes. But the way Wetsmoreland was twisting up what she said, it was coming off as if Bana was not being truthful, okay? They were trying to come for not only Bana's credibility, they were also trying to come for Cassie's credibility. I'm going to say this, Bana was not a good witness. She was not. I would not have called her if I were the government and put her on the stand. I would not have done that. Because first of all, when Bana was sitting there and she was giving her testimony, I was looking at her and I was questioning, like, she said she got clean. But I'm looking at her, either one of two things has happened. Either she has been damaged from all of those drugs that she was taking, or she's still getting high. That was my interpretation of all of it. Because, no, this was not Jane Doe. Jane Doe did not come and testify right now. We're talking about Cassie's friend Bana. All right? Bana had her story incorrectly. Exactly. And Wetsmoreland played on that. When she said that she told Cassie that she had information, details to what happened that night incorrect in her lawsuit, Wetsmoreland pounced on that, and Wetsmoreland started asking her about all of that, started breaking it down, and Bana was falling for it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The defense, their job is to come for the credibility of people that are on the stand. That's what they're supposed to be doing, because that's one of the jury instructions, to find out. They told them, is this person credible? Would you believe this person if they were talking to you in everyday life? Would you believe their story? So if Wetsmoreland can poke holes in her story, then that might poke holes in Cassie's story too. Because at this point, Wetsmoreland started honing in on, you were talking to Deontay Nash, the relationship with them and them still speaking. The fact that Deontay Nash was just testifying in here. The fact that Cassie was up here testifying and was the star witness. And the fact that they're still talking to one another. She went in, as soon as she started talking about the lawsuit and talking about how they spoke about it, she went in and started twisting that up. Oh, you guys sat and you guys strategized this. And it was a whole lot of objections. It was a whole lot that was going on, a whole lot of sidebars that were happening. Baby, it was a lot that was going on because Wetsmoreland was doing the Wetsmoreland on her, okay? Now, Wetsmoreland, I did note in here, she asked her, she said, you and Cassie, y'all discussed where the incident happened, when the incident happened, who was there. And Bana's saying yes to these things. And I made a note and said, Wetsmoreland backed Bana into a corner with the line of questioning. she got her. Okay, Westmoreland is Westmoreland was making it seem like she and Cassie were plotting about the balcony incident. Okay, Westmoreland got her to admit that she admit to what she did say. Right, she got her to admit to what she did say, but it was a twisted version of it. She twisted Bana's words in such a way that it looked like she was plotting with Cassie about the balcony incident, you guys. She said that during the year, she was hanging with Cassie before she met Diddy. Um, she asked Bana what kind of violence it was that she had seen. She even went in and started questioning her about the whole knife incident. But my thing is, with the knife incident, we saw a picture where Cassie had a knife wedged into the door and said that she kept that knife there because Diddy kept showing up to her house. And so Westmoreland was like, oh, asking her about this night. Because remember, prior to when I gave y'all the lunch hour update, I was telling you about how Bana said that she was sleeping on the couch and Diddy was banging on the door and somehow he ended up getting into the house and that he had thrown a knife at Cassie. Well, my thought was the knife could have possibly been at the door and he could have grabbed it and threw it and Cassie threw it back and he ran out the door. But she said she didn't hear anything else. She never called the police, so it's like this was, to me, yes, Westmoreland definitely rattled her. Shaking my head, their brain capacity shows why they can be abused for so long. You have to remember, listen to all the drugs that they were taking. I really was feeling like it had to have had some type of effect on her, some way, shape, form, or fashion. Okay, there's no way that you are gonna tell me. And I mean, you're talking about y'all did ketamine for 8 hours. Y'all were getting high every time y'all saw each other, and you were hanging out with each other damn near every day. So you're telling me that you're doing all of these drugs of choice and there's no type of damage? Despite Westmoreland's interrogation approach, Combs hasn't denied it. That's the part the jury needs to be reminded of. The full details can be a bit gray considering all of the drugs and time lapse. I agree with you. Hey, everybody. It was given she thought Cassie was Mullen. What does that mean? She lost me with the whole neck brace situation. Sorry, not sorry. Negotiating Young Miami and baby oil for a brick of raw. Greatest finesse in history. You know what? Some of the people they have testify are not who I expected. I thought it would be more known names. Now, Shelly, is it Shelly or Shell? Let me know. Is it Shelly or Shell? One or two so that I say it right. Shelly is one, Shell is two. Let me know. Is it one or two? Shell. Okay. So it's Shell. I had to ask because, I have a friend named Shell, but people call her Shelly and she hates it. Okay. Through the trauma, though the trauma was real, Combs has a drug partner he loved. That's what he wanted solely from Cassie, someone who would be his junkie partner and trip out with the same interests, freak-offs. Now, this goes back to what I was saying to y'all from the very beginning, and a lot of people were getting mad at me when I was saying that Cassie talking about she loved the freak-offs and all of that. I really do not believe that she was loving those freak-offs. I believe that she was loving the fact that she could get as high as she wanted to during those freak-offs, and Diddy wouldn't tell her no. That's how I feel. Hey, shout out to Uganda. Okay, so hold on one second, you guys. because I did try to come out here and I ended up getting caught up in some situations and stuff that I didn't want to get caught up in the situations for. Um, I'm gonna let you know right now. Um, Thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate you. Now, what I am gonna tell you guys is that I'm looking, you guys. I'm looking, you guys. Hold on, I thought I muted y'all. I have to mute because of the music, you guys. Okay, he should be moving soon. So now I can tell y'all. So when it came down to the story about the balcony, Bana said that she was there with her ex-girlfriend, and when Diddy came, it was the same thing. When Diddy came, she because I forgot to tell y'all that part. That when Diddy came in, she ran into the bathroom with her ex-girlfriend, and she was telling the ex-girlfriend to be quiet. And we've heard this story before because Cassie told the story, and that's how Bana ended up going over the balcony. Okay, she said he left and then she left and she wanted to take a shower. She felt disgusting. She had a huge bruise on her leg. Like that's the stuff that she was testifying to. Now, I can tell you, let me see. That's another thing. Westmoreland did come for their friendship. She was like, oh, Cassie had you believe that you were best friends with her, but you hadn't met Mr. Combs yet. And so it was like she was trying to plant those little seeds of doubt in her mind. Like Cassie had manipulated her into believing that they were still friends or that they were really good friends at the time. I cannot gauge that as to whether or not that is true. She also was asking Bana about whether or not she was high when she testified to Diddy telling her that he could kill her, that he was the devil and he could kill her. There go the Sprinter van. So that's for the family. The family is about to leave the courthouse now. They stayed very late today, you guys, and I actually did come downstairs a little early. Um, Westmoreland, um, I'm not sure if there's probably going to be a redirect tomorrow, but they ended it on cross examination. So tomorrow when we come in, Bana is going to be back on the stand and she's going to be facing Westmoreland. If I was Bana, I would try to get my ish together before I get back up on that stand because a lot of what Bana started saying, I guess once she started realizing that she was out there by herself. Like the prosecution, they were trying to object to some things. The judge was sustaining stuff and overruling, but those really tough questions, he was overruling. And so she began this I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't remember. Okay. So Westmoreland had asked her. So there was a part in her testimony where it was said in the lawsuit that Tyrone Blackburn had wrote that Diddy had groped her when he held her over the balcony. And so Westmoreland was saying, didn't you say Mr. Combs sexually assaulted you on the balcony? And, Bana was like, I showed them where his hands were. So Westmoreland was like, you said that he groped you, he groped your breast, or your lawyer said it. So Bana was like, her lawyer said it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things like that. I just feel like once she started hitting that, I don't remember, that's when we started getting into dangerous territory and it became a slippery slope. But they ended with her on cross-examination. The prosecution did not do a redirect. Redirect will more than likely come tomorrow. And I'm going to tell y'all this. There is a lot of cleanup that has to be done, okay? Because when I tell you that Westmoreland was in there being a pit bull in the skirt, I mean that, okay? She twisted a lot of what she said. A lot of what she said. I don't know how they're supposed to remember everything if they were underneath substances and all of that stuff. But I mean, hey, I guess the way the defense is going at it is if you can file a lawsuit, then you can remember. You said they fit to drag her. Listen, I don't know if they're going to drag her tomorrow or not. The prosecution definitely needs to come in and come in strong. Thank you, you guys. Come in and come in strong on the cleanup of everything. Because, yeah, today I will say defense took an L this morning. And I wouldn't even say it was, I don't know. I guess prosecution took a W this morning and the defense took an L. But this afternoon, I'm going to say that the prosecution took an L and the defense took the W. Now, other people may have seen that differently than what I did, but these are my views and my opinions based off of what I saw taking place in court. And yeah. Thank you. They only get 45 minutes tomorrow. Love the prosecution's redirect. They've been really good on their redirect with coming in and playing cleanup. They've been doing really good with that. I have to say that. Like, you'll think that the defense hit something out the park, and then here comes the prosecution with the glove. Like, I got it, caught it. I did tell y'all about the D-Rock text messages earlier. I told y'all. Okay, so the D-Rock text messages, basically they were shown in court, and I'm not really sure what they were shown for. But I'm believing that that's going to come up at some point in time. Now, in those text messages, it showed that Diddy was not only talking to D-Rock about Cassie, but that he was talking to D-Rock also about Gina, because he kept saying G. And at one point in time, D-Rock had asked him who he was talking about, which one he was talking about. But basically, Diddy was telling D-Rock to hit up G and find out if she was done with him, like if they were broken up or whatever, if she didn't want to talk to him. He told D-Rock to act like he didn't know what was going on and like he was just reaching out to her. And so D-Rock was doing that and reporting back to Diddy everything that Gina was saying. He asked about Cassie and how she was doing and what she was doing. Oh my God. Hold on, you guys. Hold on, you guys. Okay. So he asked about what Cassie was doing and how she was doing. And so D-Rock was giving him an update on Cassie. He was like, she's eating. And then at one point in time, D-Rock had said that the kids had seen Cassie's black eye and that they told the kids that there was a fight at the club. And that's how Cassie caught the black eye. And Diddy was like, what do you mean? Why is she not hiding? So that confirmed that she would have to go into hiding to hide the bruises on her face. But like I had said earlier, that's telling me that the kids have seen some of this stuff as well. And they may have been lied to and they didn't even know. I can't even say maybe because it's very obvious that they were lied to about what was going on. But D-Rock definitely in those text messages are shown as a co-conspirator in this whole situation that they are calling RICO. Now, what I keep telling everybody, and I'm going to keep harping on, I'm going to say this, keep saying this, is educate yourself in RICO. Because this is not going to be the last time that we see a RICO. They are changing the way that RICO is being done, you guys. Right before our eyes, they are changing what RICO looks like, okay? If they didn't have sirens, you would worry. It does. Thank you. TD, somebody that understands. RICO makes it easy to charge. And this is what I was trying to tell people this morning when I was talking to you guys. I was telling y'all, the way that we've heard RICO before, we thought about mob, okay? We thought about La Cosa Nostra, okay? And how the mob was set up and how they have the underbosses and all of that. But we don't have that in this case where there is a boss and an underboss and none of that stuff. What we have is Diddy. We have his legitimate businesses and how the money from the legitimate businesses are being used to fund these freak-offs, to fund these trips, to fund even getting the supplies to take care of Cassie after Cassie has been has had hands, feet, and knee bows put on her. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's different. This is the first time that we are actually seeing a single person RICO. And this is not uncommon because I did look that up for myself about single person RICOs. I'm going to have to go through my notes and I'm going to have to give y'all that live and explain that to y'all. I want to give y'all a full live on all of this, but I don't know if everybody's going to want to hear it. But the way that you end up a single person on a RICO, and this is why I keep telling y'all, the co-conspirators have immunity. All right. The reason why Bana asked for immunity is because Bana was admitting to selling drugs. There is no statute of limitation for selling drugs. So for her to get up on a stand and admit to it, that's definitely. Hi, Lisa. That's Lisa Everett, y'all. I'm trying to educate the community because it's not as cut and dry as everybody would like for it to be. And especially in this case, if this case doesn't show you that the government can do whatever the hell they want to do and stack it up the way they want to stack it up, I don't know what else will. Today it's Diddy. Tomorrow it could be somebody that you know that has their own business, that has their own organization. This is crazy work, man. Swagger Low, I don't know if I'm going to open the bar tonight. Honestly, I really just want to rest. I got to see how I feel a little later on. But if I do open the bar up later, I will be sure to let you guys know that I'm going to open the bar. I'll make a community post. I've really got to get active on my social media with my clips and my shorts and my posts. And so that may be what I dedicate tonight to. But you guys, I'm about to go get in my subway. I'm about to go down into the subway and catch my train. But it has been wonderful. I know normally I'm on here a little bit longer, but that's all I have for you guys today. Be sure that y'all run this up. And I love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for the continued support. Welcome to all of the new people that are here. Remember to vibe high so that the bullshit don't stick. And when you rest well. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody.